Hi, welcome everyone. Today we've got a brand new episode of Business Blind Spots Exposed, the podcast. I want to give you a little bit of a understanding of what it is we do at the Business Blind Spots Exposed podcast. It really started out as kind of a little bit of a journey for myself. I've always looked to improve myself, and I started to realize it's actually not about what you know and what you don't know that you know. You know what you don't know. It's the stuff that you can't see. It's the stuff that's sitting right behind me that I can't see at all that is really what's going to put me in a difficult position. So the purpose of this podcast is to start to go to experienced business leaders and coaches, people who've been there and done that at least one, two, or three times, and start to learn how they saw things, how they experienced things, and the blind spots that maybe got them. Because the aim of this podcast is to start to bring them out. Because I personally have learned so much from others. It would be a shame to try to learn it by myself when I can rely on others to really lift my game. So hopefully this is an opportunity to lift your game. So a couple things I'd like to do, just housekeeping wise. This is a live podcast. So anyone on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube can chime in and ask us questions. I'd encourage it. If we're going to be talking to Sheri here in just a second, and as we talk with her, I'd encourage you to ask her questions. If you have questions about what she's saying or need clarifications, or it just doesn't quite, the dots don't connect for you, chime in. But for right now, I'd just like to ask anybody who's on, tell us where you're from, where you're connecting from. With that, I want to say hi real quick, Sheri. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Vinay. How about you?
I'm doing super. I'm really excited about our podcast today. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to get into and love to get you to share with us.
Sure, I look forward to it.
So just before we get started, though, I do want to do one more thing, and that is to tell you about some of the things that we've got coming up in the coming weeks, because we've got some really exciting shows ahead of us. And I really want to dig into with Sheri and what she's learned along the way. So on February 26th, we've got Richard Moore, Sales Success Tips from Richard Moore using data and behaviors. Just an inside look at how to use behaviors and data to shape your sales success. On February 15th, I've got Sherry McManus and Lou Everett, how to think bigger with data. They're executive coaches, and they come in and help people up-level the way they think and the way they behave in organizations to take it up to the next level. On February 12th, I've got Rich Camacho, how hiring the better employee became better with data. You'll see in all these business blind spots, it's data that kind of gives you that objective view into what's actually happening. And we just got Marie Brewer who just chimed in. Thanks so much, Marie. You and I met before, I think, at a networking event. Thanks so much for checking in. And you are right. Sheri and Lou are fantastic. I've talked with them a number of times. Marie, I would love any comments that you have along the way here. But today, we're talking to Sheri about the $1 Million Climb and the coaching business that she runs. Sheri, I'd love to start out. After all of these years in coaching and running companies, give me one or two blind spots that you've uncovered in your journey.
Oh, just one or two? So, I've been running businesses for 30 plus years, and there's always some fun blind spots. The biggest thing is I think our success in business is based on how we can uncover those blind spots and then learn to project them, because we're always looking forward, like what could happen, because what brought us here isn't going to get us there. And so being able to identify those blind spots and being able to look forward. So, back in the early days, blind spots for me were like not identifying culture or core values and the importance of that. And it's amazing how many businesses out there don't have core values or culture defined. And it's such a key importance to business success, because with them, you hire to them, you hold people accountable to them, you train to them, you fire to them. But without them, you could end up with a business you don't even enjoy, because somebody else is going to define that for you. And even Gino Wickman, who wrote the book Traction, will say, even if you're a company of one, you should still define your core values and have a culture. So that was a huge blind spot for me when I was inexperienced and newer to business. That has become just one of those game changers once you get that defined and are able to infiltrate that within your business.
So, I'm really excited about having you on today, and one of the reasons why is in all the businesses that I've run, I've always looked for a playbook, a way to kind of, what do I do next? And I think one of the things that I've learned along the way is there's no playbook that fits every company, right? It is a highly individualized experience, and I think part of what you've built with the $1 Million Climb, and as part of what you teach and kind of that framework that you've given each other, it's the foundation for building your own personal framework. Is that right?
Yes, because so many times in business, we focus on sales and marketing, right? Because that's cool, fun stuff, right? And everybody thinks, oh, more sales, do marketing gets more sales, and sales is what grows and makes a business. And it absolutely does. I mean, it's like a key component. However, if you don't have foundations and processes and things in place so that you know what to do with those sales once you get them, scaling becomes very, very difficult. So through my coaching business, the things that I focus on, I call them backstage stuff, the backstage processes, the stuff the customer never really sees. It's the people behind the curtain doing all the work so that what the customer sees is the really good stuff. I do strategic coach with Dan Sullivan, and he calls it front stage, backstage. It's, what you put forth for the customer. Well, I focus on the backstage stuff because I feel that's a lot of people's weaknesses, is they don't have that backstage. So it ends up being very chaotic in their world behind the scenes and in front of the customer. Yeah, they're able to sell and they're able to grow, but they're not able to sleep or spend time with their families, or, take time off without worrying about their business. And that's not why we're in business. To me, I mean, we're in business to make money, yes, but we're also in business so that we aren't deprived of family time, and we have a lot more balance and free time and benefits that we wouldn't have otherwise.
So this is really interesting, and gosh, there's so many gears spinning in my head right now in terms of threads of conversation here. I'd love to hear a little bit about the story behind it, how you kind of got to this point, and some of those anecdotes, if you will, that said, there's something I need to focus on. But what you just said about this idea of being able to live a life the way you want, I think a lot of business owners, senior leadership, wanted to get into those roles because, hey, I don't want, there's a joke I heard once. Why do entrepreneurs work 80 hours a week? And so they don't have to work 40. Right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to control that, but it ends up being 80 hours a week all the time. And that's not healthy either, because that's not why you started. Talk to me about that. I mean, you work with enough business owners. Is that happen a lot?
Yeah, so I was one of them. So I used to say, hi, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a workaholic, right? And so, and I was raised as a doer, right? I mean, I'm a baby boomer, and that baby boomer generation was raised to be doers. I mean, it was who could get the most work done in school, who could do the best. So we were doers. And so I had the mindset for years of, I'll just do it myself. It'll be easier. It'll be faster. Me teaching somebody else will take too long. I don't have time for that, those types of things. But you can't scale a business with that kind of mindset. And you also aren't real happy all the time either. And working 80 hours a week for anybody is not a lot of fun. And at some point, something clicks or something gets sacrificed to where it's like, you know what am I doing here? I should be able to go to my kids' ball games. I should be able to participate in stuff. I should have a life outside of work. I should be working to live, not living to work. And so it became a huge mindset change. A lot of people see delegation as a sign of weakness, and I learned to see it as a sign of strength. And one of my favorite concepts is, who can do this for me? Not how can I get this done? It's who can do it for me, and empowering my people. It was very hard to let go. It's kind of like as a mom, like it was really hard for me to hire that first babysitter and let my kids be babysat by somebody who was not a family member. Letting go in your business and delegating to other people is very similar to that. You're trusting your livelihood and all that to somebody else. But what I learned was by empowering my people, they could do it better than I could. And sometimes they would have more creativity on how to tackle a project, or how to streamline a system, or how to even, turn something we were doing manually in and get it done with technology to simplify it, take additional steps out of it, and actually reduce the need for additional overhead to, fulfill a position. And so as I learned to empower my people and collaborate with different people and allow people to work in their strengths, work became more fun. Life became more fun because I was working a whole lot less hours because I didn't have to do it all.